Hey folks, welcome to New York, more specifically Midtown 42nd Street and Lexington Avenue, among others as well, as this is where the Chrysler building is located. I had previously done a 32 by 32 baseplate version of this a while ago, and it was time for a substantial upgrade and update. I wanted to incorporate Grand Central again, but also the MetLife building, which sits right behind it too. It's a very dense part of New York. I think it's one of the most interesting and probably the most New York bit of New York, because there are so many skyscrapers, no green space, it's just these sprawling towers in a grid. I do of course have my signature subway section underneath, which actually has lights. More on that later. And I am really happy with this one. I spent ages really marking out each building, getting their heights correct and getting them as accurate as possible as I could at this scale. And like with all my micro city mocks, one of my objectives is to make this as realistic as it can be, so that you may almost not realise it's made of Lego and have to double take when viewing it. I also didn't want to detract so much from the Chrysler building, so I chose to position it one street away from the Vanderbilt building, which is the other side of Grand Central going west, and it is an enormous skyscraper and would totally overshadow everything in this area. So I had to think really carefully of where to position the start of the mock. As usual, there are several details and fudges when it comes to some buildings, as they are so difficult to replicate at scale, but I believe this is about as good as I could do it, otherwise I wouldn't be putting it on display at shows or film it for you now. I guess the only way to portray that is to look at the source material itself, and I heavily used Google Earth as I usually do, and of course Street View. And the Chrysler building, it stands out so much with that awesome shiny spire. Right over to the west is the MetLife building, formerly the Pan Am building, and the green roofed Grand Central Station. I spent a while agonising about the road outside, as it is actually on a slope and it's elevated, but I couldn't do it. It was going to make it too complex to have this different height section. So right next to this is the black angled and rather cool looking 101 Park Avenue skyscraper. Over to the east is this cluster of black and dark coloured blocky skyscrapers, which all look very similar. I spent a while making sure to get the orientation and width of each one correct, because it is quite a distinctive area. There are also lots of smaller skyscrapers which step back as they get taller, which is again a distinctive feature of the New York skyline to do with zoning laws and things like that, so I made sure to get them correct too. This tan-sided and black windowed building is the edge of my mock, so I had my grid with this at one side and I could work my way along the straight edge of this street. Super handy that New York doesn't have many curved roads. And when you zoom out, you can see what I mean. It is just buildings, nothing else, no clear or empty space. The Chrysler building is stunning. And even back out here, it's still distinctive enough that you can't really miss it in this mix of other buildings. This right here is why I think Midtown is so unique. It is this large section of Manhattan that is very dense, and there are lots of skyscrapers that are all quite tall and similar in height. Whereas a little bit further south towards the tip, the heights get lower and then rise again around Wall Street. So I planned out my grid where Vanderbilt was on the edge, and as you can see, it's bloody big and would just dominate the space. Now coming down to the subway, I added a few lights behind trans-clear windows. I also added some stickered signage. This is borrowed from the New York Miles Morales Spider-Man deli set. I like the idea of there being like a newsagent grocery store there. I think it's a cool feature, I think. This is me displaying this at Edinburgh, actually. Plenty of light in here to film. And you know, having just looked at the Google Earth footage myself and cutting back to this, yeah, I have to say I'm happy with it. It's about as good as I can get it. The annoying thing about the lights now is I can't turn the mock around on my turntable when I have it on display, as the lights are attached to the battery. Lots of kids can see it straight away, so they look at the subway, and I love this part of the city. The New York sign is by a trader at shows around here. It looks great. The signs look good, but unfortunately one came off and slid back. I can't really fix this as all of this is built on top of so much. I'd have to break it apart, which I don't really want to do. But hey, from here, you can't even notice. I think it adds a lot having the lights, really nice. During construction, I made a lot of mess as I was still building other stuff at the same time. I wanted to show you how I do it though. In this footage, I've already laid the roads first and then I've added the cars. It's very hard to do that afterwards. And then I have my grid worked out. You know, the roads determine where the buildings are going to go. I use Google to research each building one by one, and then I just sort of figure out how I'm going to build them and just work from there. I started with the MetLife and the Chrysler building. It's interesting that most buildings in this area are actually a very similar height. There are no super talls, there's just a sort of uniformity. Well, I suppose except for that Vanderbilt building. I used a lot of 1x1 trans clear tiles as there are lots of glass clad skyscrapers. Also a lot of grey grille pieces used as there are these steel clad buildings with struts and windows, and it kind of works for that. I was thinking of doing my own version of the Chrysler building, but I just used the Lego one from the Skyline set. I think they did a good enough job. It's the top spire that really matters more, and what they did was fine. And in certain lights the building does look white rather than grey, so that's fine too. Kids seem to love the cars on the street, and as it's New York there are a few extra yellow and black jumper plate taxis populating the streets. And you know, although they're static, I think they bring some movement and some life to the streets. Personally, my favourite views of all my micro cities is this. I love that bird's eye view, looking down where you can see the huge height of each building and almost for a second maybe not realise this is Lego. Well, that's what I try to imagine, and I think it's pretty successful at that. In the last 2 months I have taken this to 3 different Lego shows and it was really popular. People knew exactly what it was and they loved the lights as well. I don't think I will do the lights again though, as for future cityscapes I just want to be able to turn them on turntables so you can actually see every angle, but for this one it works well. These street views are cool to see too, and as this doesn't move, people were able to really look down them and get up close and admire it, which was a great thing to notice. I have recently finished another Tokyo micro city. I'm working on Shanghai next, but you know, the more I look at this, I think I'll do more New York, and I will likely start on Chicago as well soon. These are my 2 most recent Tokyo MOCs, and I think they really do look so different to New York. It's funny, it's microscale, but there's definitely a distinctive look. If you want to see those, please check out my channel and look out for Shanghai in the not too distant future. Thanks for watching.